I'm just sad, okay? I'm just
All right.
sad.
I'm sorry I offended your
I thought you would like
whale.
Laboon. You loved Chow Chow. I was like, he's totally gonna love Laboon. He's such a good boy. And nothing but hatred for Laboon. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Onesie Piece podcast, where two grown men in onesies argue about a cartoon.
I'm Esteban. I've never seen One Piece before. I'm watching it blind, and I don't like anime.
I'm Wade. I have seen all of One Piece, and I love anime.
There you have it.
That's it. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. How's it going?
Oh, it's going. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Oh no.
Oh no?
Never mind.
Okay.
We're good.
All right.
For a second, I thought they couldn't hear you, but they can.
All right. They better.
It's been a pretty crazy week.
Yeah. A lot of stuff has happened for Luffy and company.
A lot of it. We had 3 separate arcs this week that we're going to be going over, and we're finally in the Grand Line.
3.
Yeah.
I can think of 2. You'll have. Oh.
Did you not watch the 3rd one? I'm going to be real disappointed if you didn't watch the 3rd one. It was 2
okay,
episodes.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, 3. Yeah, okay.
It's not with, it's not with Luffy and the gang, but it's a fun time.
I probably was just trying to purge it.
Yeah, that's probably. I was about to be real disappointed if you didn't watch that one, because I've been looking forward to this.
All right.
We went over Reverse Mountain, or we're going to be going over Reverse Mountain this week. We watched Reverse Mountain, Whiskey Peak, and the Koby-Meppo.
Is the arc called Reverse Mountain?
Yeah, the one where they enter the Grand Line.
Not inside the whale?
Not inside the whale. That would be a little
more
too on
appropriate?
the nose, I think.
Because, the last episode that, from, the last arc that we watched ends with them, sailing. They all have their leg up on the
yep, that's
circle
right.
thing, and they're screaming Grand Line. This episode starts with them on a Splash Mountain, about to jettison right into a whale, and I was a bit confused.
Wait, it just started with that?
Yeah.
I think you missed an episode, my guy.
I watched the ones you told me to watch.
Motherfucker.
62 to 69.
Huh.
I was pretty confused as to what was going on.
You didn't. I mean, I might have messed up the count here, which is disappointing a little bit. I feel like you might have thought to yourself, "This doesn't make any sense. What's happening?"
That's almost verbatim what I thought to myself.
Jesus Christ. Let me get you up to speed, I suppose, with what happened. All right. So they had their feet up on the thing. They're running through the storm, right? Trying to get away from Buggy and Smoker, who are chasing them down, and they got to get to the Grand Line. They got to get to the Grand Line. It's storming, it's thundering, it's horrible.
That sounds cool.
It was. I'm really, really a little pissed that you didn't watch this episode.
I watched the episode numbers that you gave me.
I'm sorry, all right? I don't watch it. I read it. I just Googled it. I guess maybe last week you were supposed to watch 61 then. Because Reverse Mountain starts at 62. But Logtown we might have gone on one more. I don't know. Regardless, it's intense. I was so excited to talk to you about this, and now I'm kind of sad. It's super intense. They're running away. They're in a storm. Everybody's freaking out. They got to get to the Grand Line, but they don't really understand how to get to the Grand Line. They're looking on a map, and they're like, we got to go up a mountain. How the fuck do we go up a mountain? MZP's podcast. Thank you, Tiff Manda, for the sub. That was
Scared
a blast.
the shit out of me.
Mind you, they are. You guys aren't married, right? You're just boyfriend girlfriend. Regardless, they're clearly watching together. Thank you guys for coming to the What's This podcast and the double subscription right out of the gate. That got the intensity levels I needed because right now we're running through a storm and then. So we're freaking out.
Almost had a heart attack.
Oh my god. Well,
something's happening.
Something's happening, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, it took me a while to get used to it. It still scares me sometimes. It really comes in loud and in charge.
You should stream us playing Phasmophobia sometime.
That would be fun. That would be a blast. That would scare the crap out of me if we were playing Phasmophobia and that shit popped up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotta get back on track here. All right, so we're running from Smoker and the gang. Super intense. Just think of the most intense scene. It's raining. They're freaking out. They don't know what to do. They got to go up a mountain somehow, but they're not exactly sure how to go up a mountain because they look at the map and it's like there's a river, but how does the river go up a mountain? It doesn't make any sense. And then pure calm. The storm's gone. They're just floating, and they're like, what the hell happened to the storm? Why? What is going on? And they're trying to figure it out. They realize they've entered the Calm Belt, which is an area that we've talked about in the past. On each side of the Grand Line, there's a thing called the Calm Belt. No wind reaches there, and the weather is apparently completely calm all of the time. You can't have a storm where there's no wind. That doesn't make any sense. So they realize they've entered the Calm Belt. They start freaking out because underneath the Calm Belt, also we talked about earlier, is that there's a whole bunch of monsters. A whole bunch of huge sea monsters, bigger than any sea monsters you've ever seen before. And they're like, we gotta get out of here. We gotta start rowing back to that storm. Because now they're in a much calmer situation, but they're much scareder than they were. So they start rowing, and all these monsters, like, lift up on top of them. Like, they're on the nose of one. Here, let me get a picture for reference. Let me find a picture here for reference. Calm Belt One Piece Monster. Let's see what results we get here from that. Yes, this is the exact image I was hoping for. Right here. So, there's the ship.
Oh, geez.
So, it's this huge monster and all these other ones, because there's just thousands of them down there freaking out, just squiggling around. They want food. They're hungry.
And they all remain in the Calm Belt? Like, none of them go away from the Calm Belt?
No, they remain in the Calm Belt. Nobody knows why yet, at least. Will we find out? Nobody knows. But regardless, yeah, they just hang out there. It's a cool place. It's a very chill place. Anyway, essentially what happens is one, like, does that and, like, flings them back into the storm or whatever. Now, they're back in the storm. They're freaking out again. High intensity. They gotta get up the mountain. They don't know what to do. They realize there's a tiny little river, and all the water is funneling, like, towards that. But they gotta aim it just right. They gotta hit the river, because they could hit the side of the mountain and just shatter into a million pieces. So they gotta get it lined up just right. And they do. Okay. Spoilers. They don't hit the mountain and die.
Oh, thank God.
But it's very intense in the moment, and they're all freaking out. And so they go up the mountain. I'm getting a phone call that I think I gotta take. I'm sorry. It's the second time she's called. I assume it might be an emergency.
Fair. So I don't know what happens at this point. So I'll take a wild stab in the dark. They're on their way to that little funnel with water, and they don't want to hit the mountain. They don't. But now they're in this river, surrounded by rock and mountain, and there's fish flying up and into their faces because they're freaking out because there's boats shouldn't be here. Doesn't sound like, and so they're like whitewater rafting with the Going Merry through all these curves and rocks and rapids, and then there's a drop. And they just start plummeting. No more water. No more cliffs. They're falling. They're falling. But then the pull of gravity doesn't seem as strong as before. They're no longer falling. They're floating. But the ship still moves onward towards the darkness. Everything has ceased to be around them. All that remains when they look up are the stars. Luffy says, "What are those?" Sanji says, "Those are the great kings of the past." And everyone starts laughing. He's back.
You keeping the show going?
Yes. I take a stat. I started guessing what happened next.
Boy, I can't wait to rewatch that. Update, it wasn't an emergency. She forgot the grocery list.
Okay.
For anybody who was on the edge of their seat with that one. What happens next is where you're there. Your episode, essentially. They essentially go up a river. The river's going up the mountain. And
I
then
already got
they
it.
go up all like a roller coaster all the way to the top, and then they go down, and that's when they're going down and they see the whale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so that's what you missed.
Well, that sounded kind of cool.
I feel like you would have really liked the episode. It's an adventure. It's a fun time, and it
Sounds
builds
fun.
up the Grand Line a little bit. They're all confused and freaking out. I'd recommend going back and watching it just so that you had that knowledge gap filled. But yeah, I think I brought the energy. I think I did it justice.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
And so yeah, down they're coming, and now we're looking at the whale.
Yep. We're sliding head first into that whale.
Head first into a huge whale, by the way, everybody. It is the biggest whale you've ever freaking seen.
It's like 50 stories tall.
It's so freaking big. I mean, this is a bad image, but you can tell how prepared I came this week. Look at that whale. Look at that freaking whale. You can't even see their ship, but it's like a dot right here. That's a lighthouse right there. That's a lighthouse.
That is such a dopey looking whale.
Oh, sorry. There's the whale, everybody. There it is. I wasn't screen sharing. Okay. It is a dopey looking whale, but he's kind of cute.
Yes.
He's kind of cute. So, I want to talk to you about something.
Okay.
You know what? Let's just jump into Reverse Mountain first. I'm going to talk to you about it, but I'm going to wait for the opportune moment.
All right.
For the absolute opportune moment. What did you think about Reverse Mountain?
Like the whole whale arc?
The whole whale arc from start to finish. They almost crash into a whale. They don't. They go inside the whale. It has some funneling tunnels. There's an old man living inside the whale. There's some people wanting to kill the whale.
He set up his own skybox in there.
He did. He drew a skybox. People want to kill the whale and eat it. And Luffy punches the whale in the eye and stabs it with a big mast. The end.
Yeah.
What'd you think of all that?
I
he
felt
stabs
like
it in a good way, everybody. It's not.
Yeah, it was a stab with care right in the middle of its head.
Exactly.
I thought it was such a big waste of time.
What? What?
None of this needed to happen.
It's so good. It's world building. What do you mean?
None of it needed to happen.
You are so.
They were drifting along, and Luffy felt the urge to punch it for some reason. I forget.
We're talking about the Luffy thing specifically? I'm talking about the arc as a whole.
The arc as a whole could have been avoided if Luffy didn't punch it.
No, what? That happened at the very end.
No.
That was the resolution to the arc.
No, it wasn't. They're coming down the mountain. They're about to hit it.
Oh.
And they swerve, or like they manage to get out of the way at the last moment. And they're like, whoa, that was close. They're drifting along. And for some reason, Luffy's compelled to punch the whale. So he punches it. And then the whale's eye just sort of like looks down on them.
Okay, I was talking about the punch at the end. But I will have to say justice where it's deserved. That is not how it happened in the manga whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
They were going to crash into the whale. They were about to, and Luffy fired the cannon to stop the momentum, and the cannon hit the whale, and then it got pissed and ate him.
There may have been a cannon firing as well, but regardless, they were just drifting along. Everything was fine. They were going to go on their merry way, and Luffy just punches it.
Well, that didn't happen in the manga. Luffy brought it out and saved the day in the manga, all right?
Good for him. I wish that happened here.
Luffy likes to fight. You know, he wanted to punch that whale.
He wanted to punch this innocent animal.
And then was it innocent? I don't know. It might have been
it was just sitting there. It wasn't trying to kill him. They were about to sail away.
I like the way the manga did it better. I'm just gonna say.
I like it too.
I agree.
All I'm saying is I don't like the way the anime did it.
I agree.
Cool.
I'm on Luffy's side, but I don't agree with the way the anime did that.
You would have punched the whale as well?
No, I mean, I'm usually on Luffy's side. But, like, in this case, just punching the whale out of the blue for no reason whatsoever. I mean, I guess you could say, like, it's a giant sea monster, and so, like... But, yeah, it was just minding its own business.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah. Regardless, the whale then eats them.
Yeah.
Luffy jumps on top of its head.
And...
takes a side panel door that he finds. It's a hatch.
Inside, yeah.
Oh, you got really quiet all of a sudden.
That shouldn't happen.
No. No, it shouldn't. We're just going to deal with it, I guess. It might be on my end.
It should be.
I don't know.
So, yeah. For a decent amount of time, I thought that this whale was like a robot or an artificial whale.
Yeah. Nope.
Because it has like this
it's so weird.
entire area inside of it, all these subterranean tunnels going through it.
Yep. It's just that big. It's just that large of a whale that they were able to create these canals within it that it didn't even seem to give a shit about.
I can't help but imagine that was painful.
It does seem weird, I'll admit, to make like these canals.
Yeah.
In the whale, but I don't know. Crocus had his reasons. He wanted to live inside the whale. They seem to be best buds.
Yeah, so the whale's like, sure, hollow out my body like a tauntaun. That's fine. I don't give a shit. It's very,
very strange. I was reading it and I was like, is this how this happened? Because I don't remember them having a little... But in Crocus's defense, he is a doctor. So he knew how to do like surgeries and stuff. So... presumably he got it all figured out. Laboon doesn't seem to care much.
Right. Anyway, there's these two other people, and they're after the whale for its meat.
Miss Wednesday and Mr. Nine.
Yeah.
Give us that whale meat.
Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself at this point, like, how much meat is there left? The whale's hollow.
The whale's not hollow. There's a couple tunnels.
Anyway, so what happens next? Like, the Crocus man, like, it's like, this whale is actually some pirate's pet from 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's
and they abandoned him.
They knew that the Grand Line was no place for a giant whale.
Yes. But so they said they'd come back for him. And that was 50 years ago.
Presumably perished out in the open waters.
Yes. Presumably they either died or... I don't know if Crocus said it in the anime, but in the manga he said that he had heard a rumor that they had fled the Grand Line. And they had not taken
it. In the anime, like, he brings that up like it was either like, one or the other, but... Yeah. A lot of the dialogue made it out to seem like it was probably they died out there.
Yeah, I mean, it is the Grand Line. It seems pretty feasible. But Laboon's not happy about it, and he is determined to smash through the mountain with his face.
Yes, and that's why he's all scarred up.
He's got all sorts of scars on there. So he bashes into the mountain every single day trying to break through it because he's an animal. He wants to get out of the Grand Line. He didn't want to be here. He wanted to be with his crew. He wanted to explore the seas.
And so Luffy has to get involved and decides to stab him.
Well, he does, but he decides to. It's a friendly rivalry, is what it is. Luffy picks up the mast, runs up the whale, and says, "Is that your most recent wound?" And then stabs the mast into the wound, which is a little harsh, I'll admit, but he had to get the point across to Laboon. And so Laboon gets pissed. They have a little tussle. They start fighting a little bit.
I don't understand this section at all.
Let me explain it to you.
Please do.
No, I mean, I think it makes sense in a Luffy way. All Luffy knows how to do is fight.
It makes sense.
And so Luffy's resolution
is the most convoluted way of saying it doesn't make sense I've ever heard.
All Luffy does is he only knows how to fight, right? And so his resolutions are generally using violence. That has to do with the fact that he likes to fight and the fact that he's dumb. He saw that Crocus has tried to calm the whale down repeatedly. And Crocus is like the whale's best friend and has been unable to do so. So Luffy was like, the whale needs a reason to not ram this mountain anymore. So Luffy basically fights him. He fights the whale, he stabs it and punches it, and they have a little tussle. And then at the end, Luffy goes, "See, we're both pretty strong. I'm going to sail the Grand Line and come back, and we're going to finish this fight." And so that gives Laboon a reason. He now, similar to the last crew, he now has a reason to not ram the wall, because he needs to... Well, first of all, they made a big... on his scars, they like painted like the straw hat symbol. So like you can't go smash into the mountain or else the symbol's gonna go away, and then you're not gonna be, you ruined it. Laboon
so
understands.
Much work into this. We painted you against your will, and if you smash into the mountain, you'll ruin it.
It wasn't against his will. The whale was so happy that Luffy was his rival now. The whale needed it, and the whale couldn't be tamed. Luffy knew that he couldn't be tamed because obviously Crocus has been trying to do that for a while. The whale already had like a crew that said, "We'll come back," so Luffy couldn't play that card. The whale would have saw right through that and been like, "That's not gonna work." So Luffy was like, "I gotta just fight him, and then he'll have to finish the fight." That's the best solution I can come up with. What solution do you have for making Laboon stop ramming into the mountain?
Don't punch the whale in the first place and keep sailing. That's my solution to this entire arc.
The whale would have kept ramming into the mountain. Nothing would have...
I don't give a shit about the whale.
How do you not care about poor Laboon? What is wrong with you?
Why do I give a shit about this whale?
Because Why did you give a shit about Chow Chow?
Chow Chow is a sweetheart.
And Laboon is a sweetheart. How dare you? How dare you?
Chow Chow played a pivotal role in whatever arc Chow Chow was a part of.
The whale was the arc. The whale was the arc.
The arc didn't need to exist. Luffy punched the damn whale, started this arc, and the next arc for that matter. None of it needed to happen.
Him punching the whale at the beginning is not canon.
It's canon to me.
Luffy cares about that whale.
I don't.
Well, so in the manga, this arc needed to happen because they got eaten by the whale immediately, trying to stop themselves from crashing into it. So in the manga, this arc needed to happen in some way or another. They did not have the option to sail past it like they did in the anime. So from the source material, this needed to happen. So get over whatever the fuck the anime did.
Anime is all I have to go off of.
Well, I'm telling you right now, the anime's wrong. So get that thought out of there. The arc needed to happen.
All right.
And Luffy needed to punch that fucking whale.
and stab it.
He did. He
in its
had
head.
to come off as a serious threat. If he just goes around punching the whale, it's not going to do enough damage to piss the whale off. You know, he needed to come off to the whale like he was actually fighting it. So he did actual damage. He didn't pussyfoot around the whale. He didn't say, you're too much of a coward. He knew the whale's been ramming into the mountain. What's one little stab from a mass? That's like, it's like a needle. It's like a needle for the whale.
There was a lot of blood.
There was a lot of blood. Luffy really stabbed it in there.
But again, like, they could have still, like, the whale wasn't after them. Nobody was after them. They could have just gone.
But then the whale would have kept ramming into the mountain. Have you no heart? Luffy
for the whale,
wanted to
no.
resolve the problem. He was sad that the whale was ramming into the mountain and wanted to resolve it. He didn't want to just leave the whale to continue to ram into the mountain until it died. You heartless son of a bitch.
I guess, sure. Good job, Luffy. Stabbing the whale was the right call.
It worked, man. It
worked.
I am so disappointed that you don't love Laboon. He was such a cute little whale. He was
it's really dopey.
He was abandoned when he was a year old by the people he loved the most. They said he couldn't go on the Grand Line with them, and then they never returned. How do you not feel for Laboon? He got so sad he started ramming the wall, the mountain. He wanted to tear the mountain down!
Listen, it all stems from the fact that, to me, this entire arc didn't need to happen.
You get so stuck on things. And they just consume you. And then you throw everything else that happens out the window because you're like, it didn't even need to happen anyway.
Is that your me impression?
Yeah, that was you. That was my you impression. I'm just sad, okay? I'm just
all right.
sad.
I'm sorry I offended your
I thought you would like
whale.
Laboon. You loved Chow Chow. I was like, he's totally gonna love Laboon. He's such a good boy. And nothing but hatred for Laboon.
I don't hate Laboon.
You said you would leave him to die.
He's not dying. He's got a couple scratches.
His face into the mountain.
He's got a couple.
He
can take it. He can
He
take
can't
it.
take it. Look at all the scars on him. He can't take much more.
He's doing fine.
He can't take much more.
He can take so much more. He's got a big nose.
How dare you?
And once that scar tissue like solidifies, then that's just harder skin.
And you know, just because we're here, look at you say against his will. Look at how happy that whale is.
He looks exactly like he does when we first see him.
Bullshit! This is what he looked like when we first saw him. I already showed you all. Oh God, hold on. Open link in new tab. Look at that. That is not the same. Look at how happy that motherfucker is. Look at how distraught. His eyes small. He's scared. Happy whale.
Exactly the same, man.
It does not. You know it. You're being obtuse. Look at that smile. Yeah, there he is. Not even close to the same. Not even close to the same. I think we should get off this.
Yeah, I agree. They sail away from Laboon.
We sail away from Laboon and we go into Whiskey Peak. Okay?
Yep.
Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday have joined them because they don't have a ship and they live at Whiskey Peak and they had like the log pose or whatever. Why did they join them exactly?
I think they just needed a ride home or something like that.
Yeah, they needed to go home, and so they were like, let's go to Whiskey Peak or whatever, so they all just agreed. So they get to Whiskey Peak, and they're immediately abandoned by the two of them.
Yep.
And then they all sail into Whiskey Peak and party the night away. Everybody's so excited that pirates are here. Yeah. It's a party, it's a celebration, everybody's cheering on the shores.
Yep.
And so they party the night away. What else do you do? You know?
Exactly that. Nani's like drinking a bunch of non-alcoholic wine. Yep. Usopp's telling stories to his heart's content. They don't. They know it's not.
Oh, they do? In the
anime? Nani's like, I don't. They invite her to the drinking contest, and she's like, I don't want to drink, and they're like, don't worry, it's it's non-alcoholic. It's like all the flavors of wine, but with none of the alcoholic side effects. She's like, all right then.
Huh. That is such a in the manga. She straight up was chugging beer and was like, "I could do more."
That is such the opposite of what I saw.
She was just chugging alcohol and like out drinking everybody.
It's so weird.
And then like everybody passes out, right? And Zoro has his moment
because
where he fights all the town people.
Yep.
Nami comes back at the end of that because they thought she was passed out, but then she comes back. Yeah. Her elaboration for that, I thought she was drinking non-alcoholic beer or wasn't drinking it. She comes back and she's like, I could have drank double what I drank. So she was drinking beer, she just didn't drink so much that she passed out.
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah. So Luffy, so something happens later in this arc that really pissed me off with Nami.
With Nami?
With Nami.
Oh wow. Interesting.
Although if it happened in the manga, I don't know anymore since it's deviating so much.
It's not deviating that much. They just sailed past a whale in one of them. And I guess the alcohol thing.
Yeah. But Luffy wakes up and sees all the dead people
that Zoro killed.
Yeah, and gets really mad at Zoro.
Yes.
And decides to, instead of talk about it,
yes, just
kill Zoro.
Yes. In a rage, starts attacking.
We forgot to. Yeah, did we mention that the town was just putting on a facade and they were all bounty hunters?
No, I don't think we did. Yeah,
so the town's it's a town of bounty hunters.
Yeah, what they do is they get the pirates drunk until they pass out, and then they steal all their shit.
Yeah, and turn them into bounty.
Turn them in. They got bounties on their head, so yeah, they tie them up and turn them in. Zoro just didn't give a shit. He just
he was like, "You're not killing us, so I'll kill you."
He literally takes out the whole town single-handedly, which is a pretty baller move.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
it's a really cool fight scene.
It is. It is a good fight scene. So he fights all the townspeople because they deserve it. Then Luffy wakes up, sees that they're all dead. One of the guys is like, "It was Zoro who did it," and so then Luffy gets pissed and goes and attacks him.
Yep, and Zoro's like, "Hold on, it's not what you think," and he's like, "I don't care. I'm gonna kill you."
Yes. So, full disclosure, I'm with you on this one.
It was kind of dumb, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't love this. This feels like the Baratier arc where Luffy's doing shit that I just feel like is kind of out of character for him. And this is no exception. I have one kind of counterpoint that I'll get to later maybe. But the general purpose is like... This felt more like a fan service thing to me, where it was like, everybody wants to see Luffy and Zoro fight.
Yeah, because they kept on throwing out lines like, we're finally going to see who's the best fighter, or like, it's finally come down to this. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, and it was like, you have the Arlong arc, where to me, and I argued this, and I continue to argue it because I think it's true, showed that Luffy has an unbridled belief in his crew, specifically with Nami. You know, he believed that she would do everything she needed to do and that she had the situation under control, and that's why he didn't interfere. In this case, you have one random townsperson say Zoro murdered them all, and Luffy immediately wants to kill him. Like, straight up, he said he was going to kill him. That's what. Yeah. And it's like, what? This is this doesn't even line up at all.
Nope.
So I'm with you. I kind of hated this.
So they're fighting, and then there's exposition being revealed about Miss Wednesday. And oh my God, I hated that guy with the curly hair.
Oh, so you were pretty happy.
Oh yeah.
I hated him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the guy with the curly hair, Igaram,
yeah. Turns out he's working undercover for this Ambrosia Kingdom or something. What is it?
Alabasta.
Alabasta Kingdom.
Alabasta Kingdom, and they're all in the Baroque Works, which is the bounty hunter group.
Yeah. Turns out he's been working undercover to figure out who the leader of Baroque Works was.
Yes.
While also simultaneously trying to protect the princess of Alabasta Kingdom, who is
Mrs.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah, so Vivi is what we find out her name is. The princess of the Alabasta Kingdom was Miss Wednesday. I said Mrs. Wednesday, whatever. Miss Wednesday. Who was the one who wanted the whale meat.
Yep.
And who had been sailing with them.
Yes. So Nami, this is what pissed me off with Nami. After Luffy and Zoro are done fighting, I forget how it ended because I don't care. She's like calling in a debt from Zoro. She's like, "You owe me 300,000 berries," and he's like, "What?
Oh, yeah,
I don't." Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, I let you borrow 100,000," but then he was like, "But I gave it right back because they gave me the swords." And she's like, "Well, you still owe interest, 300% interest," and he's like, "This is bullshit." I'm like, I agree.
Nami's a swindler. She's a thief to the bitter end.
She's a piece of shit. They're her friends.
Where's the tier list? How is this going to affect Nami's tier list?
It's affecting it.
I thought it was... I didn't take the moment too seriously. I thought it was a funny moment.
It was funny, but it's a shit thing to do to your friend.
I know, but it was really funny that he was like, "What the fuck, Nami?"
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They gave me the swords for free, and I just gave you the money back. Good times.
Like calling in 300% interest to a friend you loaned money to who paid you immediately back. What a dick move.
It is a dick move. Regardless, Mr. Five and Miss Valentine. Let's talk about them for a bit before we get to the end of this arc, because you have a guy that I think intrigues me, should intrigue you, because we'll get into it, because I know what your gut reaction's gonna be. So you have they're both devil fruit users, right? Mr. Five like flicks boogers and they explode.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, and then Miss Valentine can make herself like any weight. Essentially, so she can make herself so light she floats around, and then immediately make herself like 1,000 kilograms
like
or whatever.
Kirby.
Slam into the ground. Yeah, it's like Kirby, exactly. Very similar to Kirby. What did you think of these two devil fruit abilities?
Does he have to use boogers? Like I...
There it is. And you know what? My first thought was that exact thing, but then they elaborated. Did you get the elaboration?
I don't think so.
The elaboration changed it for me, and I was actually down with it after that. Because I was like, this is just a stupid, quirky One Piece thing, which it was. But later you find out that he can blow up any part of his body.
Right,
and so he uses the boogers just as a projectile. It's just easy access, because the boogers, I guess, are considered a part of his body, and so he can flick them and then make those blow up. I thought it was actually if you could make your body explode, like anywhere, and you found out you could flick boogers and make those explode, why wouldn't you do it? That's your projectile
probably just like
move.
Spit or something.
I wonder if spit's considered part of your body.
If boogers are, spit is.
Spit's pretty gross too. You would hate that just as much.
I'd rather be spit on than have someone flick their booger on me.
Well, then it's gonna explode immediately anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I guess I'd rather watch someone spit on people than flick boogers on people. How about that?
As far as we know, spit isn't part of the body. That's fair, though.
Why not? That's not fair.
Presumably you can flick a booger further than you can spit, though. I guess that's if you're strong enough.
One Piece. I think it's like easy to imagine them just spitting across an entire town.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I don't know. You might be a little more accurate with the booger.
He flicked it like a bullet.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Logistically, it could... I don't see why it couldn't have been spit.
That's fair. Regardless, I thought it was still a cool little implementation. Because at first I thought he was going to have like the booger blowy up fruit. And so when I found out that it was a little more involved, I was like, all right, I accept this.
See, for me, it was like, oh, it could be any part of your body and you choose boogers.
Well, he chooses boogers for the projectile.
I know, but you can projectile other shit. Anyway, so yeah, moving on from him.
Yep.
Valentine.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't do a ton.
Nah, she just floated around and tried to butt slam Zoro, I think.
Yeah, she tried to butt slam him real good. And then Luffy and Zoro get in their fight, and they immediately like destroy both of them instantaneously with like a single hit.
Like without effort.
Which I guess there's my argument for the fight. It was to show just how strong the two of them are, because you had these two people who were really. I mean, so at this point, we've put the pieces together that the higher your number, the stronger you are.
The lower your number.
The lower than your number, yeah, because it goes down to Mr. Zero, who's like the strongest in the group. So you got Mr. 5 compared to Mr. 9, who you saw earlier, and Mr. 8. So we're going down, we don't even see 7 or 6, and we're already at 5. And so you're like, this guy must be getting pretty strong. He's getting down the ladder, and they destroyed them without even trying. They're just angry that they're trying to interfere with the fight.
Can I mention that this is like a pet peeve of mine when it comes to anime?
The number thing?
Yeah, quantifying people's strength and power.
I get
it's
it.
Like you see the same thing with like power levels in Dragon Ball Z.
I feel like it's a little better than power levels because I get it. I totally understand where you're coming from. I get the pet peeve, but it's not like they're just reading their power level and then they can like increase it. Like at least there's like a set like construct here. They can't just, I don't know. It's very similar. I get it. But it seems better to me. A little. It seems better than just reading their power level. And I think it's just because it feels a little more organized, I guess.
I'd just rather it wasn't a thing, you know, like let them prove their strength through the actions that we see. And I don't want to be told like, oh, this person goes here and this person goes here, but this person goes here.
Yeah, I get that. I kind of like the direction, personally. I don't see, that's why I feel the difference. I don't love power levels, but for some reason I kind of like having like that gauge just to go off of in this case. I don't know where the difference lies though. I got to think about that a little bit more. Come back to you and try and figure out why.
Why you like this one?
And I don't like power levels, because I agree with you that I don't like power levels, but this just doesn't bother me as much.
I'd be interested in hearing like that, because I don't know. I don't see a difference in it. So if you can find the difference in it.
I'm gonna think about it, because right now I don't see the difference either. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
All right.
So they do their thing. Igaram, a man with curly hair, comes up with a cunning plan. He's gonna dress up as the princess.
Yep.
And he does.
Really quick note. The reason they're after the princess and stuff is because Igaram found out Mr. Zero's name.
Yes.
And that's a no-no.
It's a big no-no. Do you know what his name is? Do you remember?
I do.
What is it?
Crocodile.
Nobody. It's like Voldemort.
Yeah. We're on a list now.
Yeah, exactly. So
there's an otter drawing us somewhere.
The what?
There's an otter drawing us somewhere.
I was going to talk to you about the otter. The otter and the vulture, who are just
the past,
straight assassins.
The past 2 episodes, like, you just see this otter riding on a vulture, smashing a shell against a rock on the vulture's back.
Oh, I loved it. It was so stupid. And then it turns out they're like just super strong assassins used by the group. Which I feel goes against the number thing, though. Because that otter is Mr. 13, and yet he's being sent to, like, assassinate Mr. 8. So by that logic...
Well, that's why I don't like the number stuff, because it doesn't matter what people's numbers. Like, it's what they do that matters.
Yeah, I feel like... Yeah, and I agree. So I guess maybe, like, in this case, it's sort of power level, but it's clearly not completely power level.
Well, there might just also be like a disconnect between like your power level and your responsibilities. So yeah, like he's 13, but this is his job.
Yeah,
he's just following people around.
Well, assassinate them when they do wrong, blowing them up.
Does he do that?
That's the
otter.
In the manga, they're implied to be assassins, and that's why they show up.
In the anime, they're just implied to be like spies, sketch artists,
oh, really?
kind of people. Yeah.
No, they're straight.
I don't think I ever heard numbers. What? I could be wrong.
In the anime or in the manga, I'm pretty sure their introduction straight up, because they have little panels. I can't find it, but I'm like where it'll say their name and then like give a brief description about them, like a 2-word description or whatever. And it said they were both assassins. That was their description, like assassin of Baroque works or something like that.
Right.
So I don't know. I guess I just, in that sense, it kind of goes against it. But regardless, I thought the otter was pretty cool. He's got spiky hands. He's got like brass knuckles, but they got knives coming off of them.
We're seeing a lot more animals take on like humanized roles this season.
We got Laboon. Because we really only had Chow Chow before this.
Well, no, I'm talking about like before we saw that telephone snail.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're seeing an otter and a vulture.
Yep.
And we also see like seagulls deliver the newspaper.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of cool, right?
It's very Flintstones.
It is very Flintstones. Yeah, that is a very good description of it. It is very Flintstones. But that's just how the world works here in One Piece. Yeah, I forgot about that. Regardless, we can talk more about them in the tier list. Because you better believe they're showing up in the tier list.
Yep. So now Luffy and Co. know Crocodile and who he is.
Yep. They know that he's Mr. Zero, and they must be murdered for it.
Yep. Because nobody can know.
Nobody can know.
So they are going to try to get Princess back to Alabasta.
Yep.
And they have a little doohickey that will point them directly the way. No, they don't. Because Luffy destroys the thingy that points them directly the way. Correct. So they can go the long way.
We can talk about that in a second. Because something happens before that. You have Igaram dress up as Vivi and sail out is a diversion. He's like, I'm going to dress up as Vivi so that they chase me. Yep. And then you guys go that way and get her back to Alabasta. So Igaram sails out like 20 feet into the ocean. On his ship, and immediately there is a nuclear explosion on his ship, and it lights up the world and blinds them. And they look back, and it's just a flaming, smoking, like, it's literally a nuclear explosion that happens on the ship.
He is gone. He is vaporized.
And so they all run away, and they're like, we gotta get on the Going Merry and get the hell out of here. We find out it was this girl called Miss All Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so they get on the Going Merry to get the fuck out of there, and then she shows up, and she's, like, sitting on the edge of it. And she's like, it was very smart of you to do a diversion, or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how it goes down, but they're all freaking out. She takes Luffy's hat. They try to stop her. She has some sort of devil fruit ability. It doesn't really show you, at least in the manga, it doesn't show you what it is. She's just like, Sanji and Usopp try to attack her, and she just like kind of flips them around. Like flips them over the edge of the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't give you any, you don't know what it is.
It might have something to do with a huge ass explosion.
It might have something to do with a huge ass explosion. Who can say? But she was definitely the one who did the huge explosion. What did you think about this whole her showing up on the boat and kind of talking with them in this encounter? Aside from the Luffy thing at the end, aside from the encounter as a whole, what did you think of it?
Well, I enjoyed watching what Igaram get vaporized.
Uh-huh.
And then, I don't know, I think it's kind of like cool that she's playing that power move. Like, I'm like absolutely your enemy, but here I am. I know you can't hurt me. So I'm just going to stick around and watch what you guys do. Isn't that how it ends up?
No, she leaves.
I thought she was like, I'm coming with you.
No, she leaves. She definitely leaves on a turtle. She definitely rides up on a turtle and then leaves on a turtle.
I don't remember that at all.
Wow, really? Yeah, no, at least in the manga, she straight up leaves. So sorry if this is spoily for next episode, but she's gonna leave. I'm pretty sure she isn't there for the next arc. I don't remember her being there, but
Regardless, it's a cool power move.
It's a cool power move.
I don't know why she doesn't just like she's there to stop him, right? Why doesn't she just stop him?
Exactly. That's why I found this interesting, because that was my first thought as well. I was like, because that's kind of one of my pet peeves. Is like she's there to stop him. This feels like a cop out. Like why?
Yeah, it's the James Bond villain move.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But then when she gives them the like log pose that directs them specifically to Alabasta, when she did that, it kind of feels like there's an alternative motive here or something. Because it's like, it'd be one thing if she was just like, you're too weak for me to kill, or something stupid like that. But it's like, here she specifically, she wants them to get to Alabasta, it feels like.
Yeah.
And like, she straight up says, the next island you're going to probably die at. So just take this so you can go straight to Alabasta.
But then, like, why did she kill the guy?
Because fuck that guy.
I guess. I mean, like, I wanted him dead as much as the next guy, but like, if she's like secretly trying to help him, then she just murdered this guy for no reason.
Well, I mean, she's still like the sidekick to Mr. Zero. That doesn't mean she's like a good person. You know?
I don't know. I'm interested in seeing what comes of her, I guess.
For sure.
Yeah. I'm not writing her off.
She gets on a turtle and leaves. That is how it ends. Also, Luffy crushes the thing that she gives them to get straight to Alabasta.
Yep.
Which is a very Luffy thing to do. So I know you're going to hate it, but it's a very Luffy thing to do. Because he didn't want the adventure being spoiled, essentially. He didn't want somebody telling him what to do. I think that's what his specific thing was.
He says, no, you're not the one that gives commands on this ship.
That doesn't sound like a Luffy line. But that's also
like
fair.
What he says.
I mean, he is the captain. Technically, he has the authority. But I took it more as like he... It's a similar... Wait, has that happened yet? I swear there's a point. What am I trying to think of? My mind's going back through all the arcs. I don't know. Regardless, he crushes the thing. They're headed to an island called...
Nami's particularly mad at him.
Yeah, I mean, the crew... Luffy does this stupid shit, but the crew always gets mad at him for it.
Yep, nothing ever changes, but that's what happens.
Luffy's in it for the adventure. He didn't want to skim past islands, especially, and I think the big thing is because she said they were going to die there, and he's like, how dare you?
Challenge.
Yeah, kind of thing. I don't know. Regardless, they're headed to an island called Little Garden, and that gets us all caught up with where we're at.
Almost.
What do you think Little Garden's going to be like?
I think it's going to be big.
You think it's going to be the opposite? You think they're trying to divert you?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Did they give you any glimpse of it? They gave you one little panel in the manga.
Yeah, like you get like one like pan down of like what looks like a jungle.
Yeah, essentially, it was like a tiger in a jungle was the that I saw. So yeah, Little Garden should be fun. That's next week's, and that's the only one next week. But there's still one more arc we got to talk about today. That caught us up with the Straw Hats. But did you ever think to yourself, hey, what the fuck's Koby doing? Because we get to find out right here, right now, motherfuckers. What's that little twerp been up to, Esteban? Why don't you explain to us what Koby's been up to?
Well, he's been hard at work since we last saw him.
Whoa!
A little bit, yeah. He's been sweeping a lot with Helmeppo.
Yeah, and I'm sure you expected Koby to come back at some point, but did you expect Helmeppo to make an appearance?
I did not. This was, in many ways, the worst arc I've ever seen.
What? It was worse than the Buggy arc?
Was Koby and Buggy?
No, I mean like the Buggy side adventure. Koby wasn't a Buggy, no. But the Buggy side adventure, because they're both side adventures, right?
Yeah, I suppose I'd rather watch this than the Buggy side arc.
I agree.
I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like this had more character development at least.
Yeah, with Helmeppo.
Yeah. Well, with Koby too.
Koby didn't change.
Koby changed. That was the whole premise.
Nah, at the beginning, Koby's like, I'm okay with dying for pursuing my dream. And at the end, he's like, you're right. It's okay to die to pursue your dream. He just happens to be a bit heavier.
I don't know, man. I don't remember him saying that shit. I remember at the beginning.
There's one really good line I liked where Koby's like giving his usual speech of like, you have to pursue your dream, and if you die in the process, that's okay.
Yes.
And Meppo's like, isn't that a bit extreme? That made me laugh good.
Meppo's not too bad. He's much better in this one than he was before.
Yeah.
And I felt like Koby was better too. He was still screaming though. He was still screaming
a lot
for sure. And for the record, this, like the Buggy story, has been cover pages.
Oh yeah, I figured it might have been.
Yeah, so all these side stories have been cover pages. But unlike the Buggy story, I actually did watch this one. I watched the 2 episodes from the anime just to get a better understanding of it. Because sometimes the cover pages, it's one panel, and you just got to kind of make an educated guess sometimes as to what exactly is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I did watch it. No, I felt like there was definitely character development for Koby. In the beginning, he's saying, like, it's okay to die for it, but then he has a moment of weakness in the middle of it, where he gets, like, actually spooked and tells Helmeppo, like, Helmeppo's, like, manning up and is like, we're gonna go out and train so hard we die, or some shit. And then Koby's like, you'll die! And then
I was that was like one...
This is
1
the
minute
moment
conversation.
he's still accepting this death thing. I don't remember the end thing though, where he says it's okay to die for your... Wait, is that what he said at the end? He said it's okay to die for it? He said exactly what he said in the beginning, at the end.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so, but see, that middle piece is what you were missing from that equation, because the middle piece showed that he was saying it, but he wasn't accepting it. And the end panel was he's officially accepted it.
All right.
He's officially accepted it. So you had Helmeppo, you had Koby. They're getting swole. They're training. They have a moment where they rip their shirts off and have a fight with a man in a dog suit.
Yeah.
And they're both swole. They got like 8 packs. They're both swole as hell.
The man in the dog suit though. This whole thing confused me. Like, why would this Grand Admiral like give a shit about these 2 janitors that he came across?
Yeah. I imagine just because he
sees something special in them.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, I know it's a cop-out. But they did... I think it was because Koby, like, swam out and, like, stood in front of the cannon to try and stop him killing Helmeppo, which I know had the cheesy line, he's my friend, which is a pet peeve of mine. I hate that shit, too. But the idea... I hate that when they say he's my friend, when really what they're saying is I care about this person, but they're saying it in a horrible way. And they're saying it right on the nose, and that's what I hate about it. But, like, the concept of it is great, right? Like, he was willing to put his life on the line to save this person that he cared about.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably what Garp saw in it all, right? And then they just kind of came along for the ride.
I bet all the other Marines are pissed, who've been working their asses off.
They shouldn't have decided to fire a cannon at one of their own.
Escaping.
It wasn't just... There was a man that... was a Marine on there. He might have been a chore boy, but just because he's a chore boy, you don't kill him too in the crossfire.
You're right. Opposing orders will get you much further than following orders, apparently.
I'm just saying, it was a fucked up thing to do. You can't just blow Helmeppo up.
No, yeah,
look
it's
at that
terribly fucked up
you had with Helmeppo.
I'm just saying, like, the other Marines have got to be like a bit peeved. That all their hard work and following orders has amounted to this.
Don't follow orders.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a pirate world. What did you think of Garp?
He's the dog guy?
Yeah, he's the dog guy.
I guess he's there.
You have no feelings for him one way or the other?
I mean, I don't think I trust him as a Grand Admiral.
No? But he gets sliced right open and doesn't seem to care. He
also just picks 2 janitors that he saw and brings them aboard to train in the Grand Line and then spends most of his time watching over them instead of doing admiral shit.
And then they proved him right.
So now he's got 2 mediocre like Marines to his name.
He might have more. We only know these 2.
All I'm saying is, if this is how he spends his time, I don't want to know like what all the responsibilities he's passing up.
That's fair. I mean, maybe it's like a thing when you get far enough up on the chain, you know, you just delegate it to other people at that point.
Maybe. So you can spend all your time training other Marines as if they were Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't stand a chance against him. They have a little fight, Koby and Helmeppo against Garp, and Garp the Fist, I believe is his name.
Garp the Fist.
And he just beats the crap out of him, which was probably fun to watch. Watch them get the living shit beat out of him.
Yeah.
Like that, didn't you?
Yeah, I enjoy it. Anytime Koby gets hurt, I enjoy it.
It was good. I enjoyed this way more than the Buggy side arc personally, and I don't know. I'm just so glad Koby came back for this little bit. By the way, we're up to 11 subscribers on the YouTube. Woo! We're 1/10 of the way there from getting your Koby border out of here.
10th, a whole 10th,
a whole 10th. So subscribe to the Onesie Piece YouTube.
Please subscribe
or don't.
Get rid of these.
I'm fine if you don't.
Glasses,
because then he'll keep the Koby.
I hate them.
Yeah, you could put your eyes up in there. Get up there. There you go. Perfect fit. Oh.
I'm done.
You got double glasses. You had glasses under the glasses as well.
I can see forever.
I can see forever. So there's one thing I want to bring up to you. Right here, right now.
Okay.
And that's why I'm kind of sad you didn't see episode 61 when they were like going up the mountain and doing all that stuff. Because I had an epiphany when I was reading that I want to run by you. And I think you're going to oppose it. Okay. But the more you agree, or the more you think about it, I know you're going to see some validity in it. Oh boy. You may not admit it, but I know there's going to be some validity here. And I'm going to tell you, I loved all these arcs. The only one I didn't love, or the only piece I didn't love was the Zoro-Luffy fight. Not my favorite. But regardless, and the reason why I loved these arcs specifically so much was because they were entering the Grand Line. It was like this new place, this new journey, this new adventure. All this crazy shit's happening. The weather's changing, right? They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. All the things they thought they knew, it's been thrown out the window. So I want to present this question to you. One Piece is the greatest game of D&D ever. You've got a man who, you got Luffy, right? Pretend I'm Luffy. Pretend we're playing D&D right now, and pretend that I'm Luffy, which I think is a pretty hilarious thing. I forgot this string was here. Get this out of here. Because Luffy, at the end of the day, is actually unbelievably similar to a lot of the characters that I've played throughout our D&D campaigns. I like to play a character who is capable, but who is capable in a way that the group usually doesn't necessarily agree with. And that can cause some butting of heads because of that. Which is kind of Luffy in a nutshell. He does things that not only you don't agree with, but that his crew usually gets pissed at him about as well. Sounds like a D&D campaign to me. They're on this journey. They all have their individual goals, just like a D&D campaign. And they're trying to get to the end. And they're coming across all this quirky shit along the way. And they're making the best of it that they can. But things just keep going wrong, and they just got to pick up the pieces and move forward as much as they can. So, I'm not going to go through the whole East Blue, but just them going to the Grand Line. Imagine we leave Logtown. We're in a D&D campaign. What crew member are you? You Zoro, Usopp, Nami? Who are you going to be?
I suppose those are my choices.
That's all you got. There's nobody else on the crew. Oh, Sanji. You got Sanji.
I'll be Nami. I've been wanting to play a rogue lately.
There you go. So you, even after getting pissed about her swindling Zoro, you'll remain as Nami. So we're going, right? There's a thunderstorm. All hell's breaking loose. We just left. There's Marines chasing us. We gotta get to the Grand Line as fast as we can or we're all going to die. It's a thunderstorm. We're steering through the thunderstorm. We're doing everything that we can. And all of a sudden, calm. The storm's behind us. What the hell's going on? We're freaking out for a moment, and then it hits us. We remember, earlier we went to an island. There was a man in a treasure chest, stuck in a treasure chest, and he told us about the calm belt around the Grand Line. We know that we're near the Grand Line. We're heading to it. We are in the calm belt. We put the pieces together, just like the best D&D campaigns. The DM gave us the hint earlier. He sprinkled it in. We get flung back into the thunderstorm. We're relieved, but also terrified. The calm belt was far scarier, but now we're back in the thunderstorm. We're still running from Marines. We gotta get onto the Grand Line pillar. We gotta get up there, but we don't want to hit the mountain. Everybody's staring. Everybody's trying, but we make it anyway because that's what you do in a D&D game. Unless you hit the mountain, everybody dies. But the DM probably won't let that happen.
Let me roll a dexterity check really quick.
Yeah, there you go.
That is it's a 9. Uh-oh.
We could probably do a group dexterity check, though.
True.
Roll for the rest of us. Don't really, though. I don't.
Okay.
Do it. You know what? Do it. Let's see what happens.
Well, that was a 16. That's
enough.
Two down.
Come on.
14.
Yeah.
And a 4. You do the average.
You forgot about Sanji again.
11.
That's totally good enough. We made it up the Grand Line. We're going. So we get to the top, right? And this is the new world for us, right? We don't know what's going on. This is all craziness. There's a river going up the mountain. We can't believe it. This is such a great adventure we're on. We're having so much fun. And then we look down as the river starts going down, and what lies for us at the very fucking bottom but a gigantic whale 100 times the size of us, and we're going straight into him, and we start to panic yet again, and we gotta figure our way out of this one. So I, being Luffy, fire the cannon moments before, which ends up hitting the whale and causes him to eat everybody. If that's not a damn D&D moment, I don't know what is.
I'll give it to you. If that should happen in the campaign, I'd be stoked.
You would be stoked if I fired the cannon to stop the momentum, but it hit the whale and then we all get ate by the whale. That's fucking awesome moment.
I would be encouraging you to do that.
I know you would. And so why not here? Although because, in the anime, Luffy didn't do that.
I'm pretty sure I think he does fire a cannon. Mm. It's just they do have an out.
They do.
He just decides to punch it.
I think that he takes away from the moment. He just decides to punch it.
Now I'd be pissed if that happened. If we avoided the monster encounter that would have surely killed us, and then you just punch it.
Which sounds like something that would happen in D&D. Let's be real. But I digress. There's one last thing I want to show you. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, this one. And tell me, there's a point. Oh, what the hell? Why isn't this opening? I need to open this in MS Paint. No, I don't. Stop it. Here we go. This is a point that this was the moment where I was like, this is a D&D campaign. Because what happens is Luffy and Sanji get in a fight over here because Luffy ate all of the food before anybody else could have any. So Sanji decides to kick Luffy in the back of the head, which causes Luffy to go flying and bust the log pose or whatever it's called, log pose that would get them to the next island. And Nami's just sitting here staring. This is such a D&D moment. It blew my damn mind. I could just see this happening in our campaign, to be honest with you. Somebody kicks me so hard, we break the one thing that we need to get to the next area.
It would probably be Strife.
It would definitely. Wait, Strife? Yeah.
Strife would be the one hurting you.
100%. He would be hurting me, which would cause things to go south. I don't know, man. That thought.
It's a fun thought.
And
that's a fun thought.
It is a fun thought. So I encourage you to think of One Piece not as an American drama where Rick Grimes should be the main character, but rather as a D&D campaign.
Where shit's just constantly hitting the fan.
It is. And it really is. Oda likes to mix it up like that, and it really feels like sometimes he like rolls a dex check, and he's like, well, this failed. I gotta come up with some sort of solution to it in the story.
If it came out that that's legitimately the way he writes his story, I would throw all my arguments out the window. I would be on board.
I mean, I know that it's not, but I would be curious if Oda is a D&D guy, because I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I wouldn't be either.
This world spawned from his, like, because he started in like 7th grade, and it was probably in like the 80s when D&D was huge. I don't know how big it was in Japan, admittedly, but like,
I don't know either.
I could totally see the One Piece world spawning from him starting a D&D campaign. And that would be awesome.
Yeah, right. Oh, that would be a lot of fun.
So, I wanted to bring that to your attention. I think maybe lighten up, you fucking twat. No, but regardless. You ready for fan questions?
Shoot 'em.
We got 16 minutes. And we do have a video from our resident One Piece expert, Digman. And
good.
I have not even had a chance to watch it. So I don't know what's coming next. He was out of power until like 4:40. So like right before this, so I didn't have a chance to do anything with it. So we're both going in completely blind with this one.
He's gonna be like naked or something.
I hope not. Well, I can tell you he's not naked. He might get naked. Don't, Dig, I know you're listening. Don't get naked on any of these. Please, for the love of God. You will get me banned off Twitch. And other places as well. Okay. Here we go. There he is in all of his glory.
Oh.
Let me make sure the stream looks good. Yeah. Yeah, we're good. Yeah. All right. What's Dig gotta say this week with the 1 second mark?
You want more roasts, you say? Are your fins on correctly, little shark?
I forgot
It's
about
always
this.
the same with your kind. Your bark is no worse than your bite, and your bite is as dull as your wit. But I'm not here to waste my time exchanging pleasantries with the cognitively crippled contricties like you. I'm here to educate you on the sublime inner workings of One Piece. With that, let's get this show on the road. The Straw Hats have picked up a princess. They're moving on through island after island in the Grand Line with a clear goal in mind: defeat the warlord Crocodile and stop the civil war in Alabasta. This is a clear departure from the narrative structure we've seen so far in the series. What do you think of Oda introducing enduring plot lines for the Straw Hats to follow? And do you prefer it to the more episodic storytelling of East Blue?
Good question. Yeah, that's a good question.
As always.
Yeah, as always, he's got amazing questions. So we kind of touched on it before. Basically, from a purely anime stance, like none of this needed to happen. If I were to just remove that one little piece out of the equation, though, I really dig it. That
Are you talking about the whale?
No, because that one punch triggered all of this. If they'd have just kept sailing, they would have never met Miss Wednesday or the other guy. Never would have made it to that town. Yep. Never would have met that guy. I'm blanking on.
That's fair. No, for sure. That's what set it in motion. So obviously, it needed to happen in order to like progress the story in the way that it did progress.
Right. However, because it didn't need to happen.
It did. We already went over this.
No. This is listen to what I'm saying. In the anime, none of this needed to happen. They could have just kept on sailing. Okay. It needed to happen in the sense that there was this plot that needed to be,
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
So if we were to just take that moment out of the equation and we converted it to like the way the manga does it, and all this stuff is unavoidable, I really dig it. Because now I don't know, I'm preferring this type of storytelling where they're trying to get from point A to point B, the beginning to the end of the Grand Line. But it's taking them along this route of interconnecting, weaving interesting storylines.
Yeah.
Starts with the whale where they meet Miss Wednesday, where they discover, oh, she's a princess. And now we're going to presumably follow this plot line of a civil war between Alabasta and some other Alabastians.
Right. So definitely. So you are liking how it's being kind of portrayed.
Yeah. It's because like, I guess I prefer like this longer overarching story as opposed to just episodic, as he was saying, arcs. Where like, okay, here's the Arlong arc, here's the Barry TA arc, and like,
no,
like,
for
okay,
sure,
these exist in their own bubbles, but there's really not that much linking between the two.
Yeah.
So I much more prefer this method of storytelling.
I'm right there with you. I always loved this, and it was a big problem that I had with Avatar. It had the overarching story, but like, and I think it was probably because more so it was a kid's show, and they wanted you to be able to jump in at any point if you were just watching it, which makes sense. But episode by episode had like
its own
solution, right? Its own problem, its own solution,
middle and yeah.
And so
I think you'd really dig Legend of Korra, though, if that's the case.
Yeah, I might watch it. I am still working through Avatar, by the way. I'm into season 3 at this point.
Watch it 1 episode a week.
I'm watching, I think, like 2 or 3. But, yeah. I mean, and we did see it a little bit with, like, the Baratier arc. How, like, Nami left in the middle of that arc to go pursue the Arlong stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, you saw it kind of coming together. But, yeah, once you get into the Grand Line, and this arc in particular is just, like, being set up from the get-go. Mm-hmm. Like, right out of the gate, all these pieces are being put together, and it's all fitting together really well. So, it's cool. You can tell that Oda's getting better with the storytelling already.
Yeah, I much more prefer this than what we were experiencing before. So
cool. I'm excited to continue this journey with you, my friend. I have one more question. I don't think Dig... Did Dig put any other questions? He probably did last time. No, I actually only see one for Logtown, which is fine. I'm not worried about it. We are going to do a YouTube channel to get through all these fan questions because there's quite a few of them here. But I do have one from Brabble. He says, what do you expect geographically... what do you expect geographically, politically, and in terms of the strength of the inhabitants of the Grand Line? It's kind of a loaded one.
Yeah, so I found it very interesting that like this Grand Line seemingly has populations of people who just inhabit it.
Right.
Like the last thing I was expecting us to run into right away was just a town of people.
For sure. It is surprising that you're like, oh, there's a bunch of islands here and people just live. This is their life. And
apparently they just like send mail there too. Like the seagulls come and drop off the newspaper.
Yes.
And like meanwhile, Don Krieg just took a trip out there and only lasted 7 days.
Yes.
And came back.
They also they said it a little bit already with the log poses. There's like Crocus said it. I think he said that there's 7 different routes that you can take. And so presumably some will be harder than others. You know what I mean? And so maybe Krieg just got the short end of the stick and chose the wrong route, and that just came back to haunt him.
Yeah. So I think all in all, it's interesting because I'm imagining it being like, I guess just a sequence of city-states, like having no allegiance to any sort of political structure outside the Grand Line is my assumption is how this is going to work. Because how do you govern like any place into the Grand Line if it's so impossible to get to and so impossible to navigate through? So I don't know. I that's from this point on. I'm just anticipating like city states.
Cool. Yeah. So we're certainly getting into it now. We got another island coming up next week. We got two more islands before we get to Alabasta. So we got a couple of things coming up, and we'll see how it goes. And then, just a heads up, everybody, we're going to do the next 2 arcs, and then we're going to take a break before Alabasta, because December is just holiday ridden, and we probably I think it's going to be the beginning of December will be by the time we get there, but I don't want to start Alabasta and then have Christmas and New Year's come, and then we have to wait 2 weeks to get to like the end of it.
Right. We don't want to have like a holiday break in the middle of an arc.
Exactly. Especially because this one's that's the long one. So bear with us there. That is coming up. I'll try and remind you every week. But for now, we're cruising forward up until we get through. I don't even remember the name of it. Drum Island, I think, is the name of it. So
sounds cool.
Sounds.
I
cool.
like drums.
What do you predict Drum Island will be like?
Well, we already know that there's zero correlation between the island's name and the plot.
What?
So
you think Little Garden's gonna be big? You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. So who knows? You think it's gonna be like flutes? You're gonna go, go the exact opposite direction.
It's a whole bunch of woodwinds.
All right. We got 8 minutes. So look at us doing great on time.
I know, right? We did it.
Cruising.
Usually just so, like, oh, we need to hurry up. We're about to run out of time.
I know.
Now we're coming in ahead.
3 arcs today. 3 arcs, albeit they were small arcs.
Yeah, they were 2 episodes apiece.
Yep. Two. Well, were they all 2?
Ish.
I thought Whiskey Peak was a little longer, but
might have been 3.
It might have been. Regardless, I have been adding to the timeline. Wanted to show this off here real quick. I kind of want to make a video around this, kind of going more in depth. But I figured we'll just give a nice little, we got the Alabasta arc here now. We've begun. And we've got just our typical stuff. I tried to not get so
Are you broadcasting this?
Oh, yeah, I am. Can you see it?
I can see it, but I want to make, because last time you were.
Because last time I didn't. Yes, I made sure to switch the scenes this time around. So, I mean, this is just a quick rundown. The one that is a lot of fun is if we go back to the very first. Laboon's crew enters the Grand Line. Look at how long ago that was.
What a significant moment in history to mark the first event in this whole thing.
This is the very first event. This was 38 years before Roger died.
Yep.
38. So Roger brought on the pirates, but I mean, clearly people were still going to the Grand Line back then.
Yeah, someone mentions, I think it's the flower guy who lives in the Whale. He's like, back then it was just, the Grand Line was uncharted sea. Mm-hmm. And so like the only people going into the Grand Line were the people yearning for adventure.
See, that's pretty fun. We got the Igaram blows up. Zorro versus the people of Whiskey Peak. And then this one was actually really fun. Because in the manga, throughout the entire night, they showed like where the moon was at.
Oh,
to,
really?
Signify like at what point. So I had a really general idea of at what point in the night each of these things happened at.
That is some sleuthing, Wade.
I know. It's so much fun trying to pinpoint these down. We know that Miss Sunday is on their ship as the sun is rising. Like it's starting to get bright, but night is just ending. And in June, which is where I've determined this is at by, it seemed like summer. And the sun rises at 5:36 a.m. So I said she was on there for about an hour. They chatted away. I don't know. It's pretty. Fun. It's been just a blast. It's been a lot of fun. So those were the big hitters this week. And we'll see what happens with the timeline as we go along. All right, everybody. That's
right.
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry. Hold on. There you go. Thank you guys so much for watching the Onesie podcast. Next week, Little Garden. Just Little Garden. I think it's 7 eps. So
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's 7 eps. And I think this week we had 9. So we got less to go through next week, but it is just one arc. So a little bit longer term than what these ones were. We will see you all next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, check out the YouTube channel. Give us a little subscribe or we got things. What?
Share it.
There you go. Like it, share it, subscribe it. Do whatever you want with it.
If you know somebody who likes One Piece and wouldn't mind listening to an idiot talk shit about it for an hour-ish.
That sounds fun. I kind of give him shit for it though.
Like there's two sides. There's 2 sides to this. There's 2 sides to this.
I'm just saying, like I'm the guy on their side. Just remember, I got.
Yeah, they're not alone. I'm the bad guy here. Apparently,
you are 100% the bad guy. And if you like to see 2 doofuses dress up in costumes, give that a look. We put them up on there.
Yeah, we pay taxes.
Tier list
like
stuff.
Adults.
We pay taxes like adults. We're grown men.
Yeah.
We got tier list stuff, which you won't see here. We got possibly timeline stuff, which you won't see here. We got all sorts of videos coming up on the YouTube channel that you won't see here. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, and that's all I got to say. Got anything else to say at the end, dear?
We also got highlights, and we'll soon be adding all the viewer questions.
Oh, yes, the fan questions. And also, we're going to be doing the movies. So why the hell aren't you subscribed to the YouTube channel?
Come on, guys.
What are you doing? All right. That's the end of it. It is 3 minutes to. I'll talk to you guys later. I love you all very much. Thanks for watching the Onesie Piece podcast. We need to have like a little ending thing. Like, this is our sharp-toothed friend. That could be yours. Your sharp-toothed friend signing out.
We'll brainstorm it.
Goodbye, everybody.